Ever stop to think how much those little impulse buys on your phone are adding up to, and how many subscription payments are sneaking out of your bank account every single month? Before I started using Rocket Money, let me tell you, I had no idea. But the first time I logged in, I saved $435. I couldn't believe it. Rocket Money is a personal finance app that helps you find and cancel your unwanted subscriptions, monitors your spending, and helps lower your bills so you can grow your savings. I just love the dashboard. It shows everything in one place, even the subscriptions you forgot you signed up for. And if there's something you don't need, Rocket Money helps you cancel it. Plus, it alerts you if a bill increases or if something unusual pops up in your account. It's basically like having a personal assistant for your money. Cancel your unwanted subscriptions and reach your financial goals faster with Rocket Money. Go to rocketmoney.com/Kim today. That's rocketmoney.com/Kim. rocketmoney.com/Kim.
Thank you for listening to the Kim Komando Show podcast. While we spend time with our families during this Thanksgiving weekend, here's a replay from August 12th, 2023.
All right, by now you've heard about the devastating fires in Maui. Now, for one Hawaiian family in the midst of all the fires, they would have surely lost their lives if it weren't for technology, specifically their iPhone. They were driving in their car, and I don't know if you heard about this. They quickly found themselves just engulfed by flames. They couldn't get out. They didn't know what to do. They also didn't have any cell phone service. Now, in any other situation, they probably would have all perished, but they didn't, all because they had Apple's emergency SOS satellite service. And with it, they were able to send a text message to emergency responders. And within 30 minutes, brave firefighters found a way to get to them. So needless to say, your phone is much more than a way just to take selfies and text with your family members and friends. It truly can save your life and the lives of people who you love. So make sure that if you have an iPhone 14, make sure that you always have emergency SOS turned on. And also, I have so many listeners in Maui and all throughout Hawaii. I just want to let all of you know that my thoughts and prayers are with you right now. Having spent so many years living on Maui and going to Oahu and Kauai and Lanai and Molokai, it seems like you're on my ohana. And now scammers are going to scam at any opportunity they can. And that's why over at Komando.com, we have a list of legitimate ways that you can support the good folks on Maui right on my site. You're going to find it right on the homepage at Komando.com. Now, if you're a brand new listener to the Kim Komando Show, welcome aboard. We're so thrilled to have you. And to our seasoned listeners, a warm welcome back. Because after all, it's time to level up that tech game. I'm Kim Komando, America's beloved digital goddess. It's the biggest show, the best show, the most trusted source about all things digital. And you can find my award-winning show on over 420 top radio stations throughout the United States. And we're streaming in your favorite radio app. And you can find us streaming as a podcast, as a webcast, 24/7. Commercial-free, by the way, inside the Komando community. Head to Komando.com. And in the upper right-hand corner, there's a big, bright, happy yellow button that says Komando Community. And a big hello and salute goes out to our listeners on the American Forces Network Radio, reaching over 375,000 U.S. service members in 175 different countries and 200 ships at sea. I just love that. And our T-Mobile Unlimited listener line is now open at 1-888-825-5254 is a way to join us. I love getting your phone calls, but if you really need hands-on tech support, that's where I want you to reach out to my team of tech experts over at GetKimsHelp.com. They're available 24/7 over at GetKimsHelp.com. Alrighty, then every single day I check out at least 35 different websites to make sure that we're both up to date on what's going on in the digital world. And here are 5 things that you need to know right now. We're going to start with your noggin. Every single day as we use TikTok, Instagram, Snap, X, Facebook, YouTube, I know the list goes on and on. Our attention span grows shorter and shorter. Believe it or not, we no longer have the attention span of a goldfish. That's right. A goldfish has an attention span, they say, of 9 seconds. The average human being's attention span is now down to an 8.25 seconds. So if you've been speaking before a polite live audience, Professor Jerry Del Colano at NYU says that if you can't get and hold their attention in 8 seconds, you've lost them. The average watch time of an internet video is less than 3 minutes, and that's if it's good. On Spotify, 1/5 of the songs get skipped over after the first 5 seconds. So the bottom line is this. If you're a writer, a speaker, a teacher, an actor, a singer, an influencer, whatever it is, remember, you just have one single 8-second shot. And so you want to make sure that you get to the best parts first. All right, number 2, let's bust a myth. Mac computers, that they're unhackable, they're unbreakable like Fort Knox. Not so much. Compared to 2019, there are 10 times more cyber attacks on Macs. Businesses are switching from Windows to Mac, and hackers are noticing, and so now Macs are the big, juicy target. The hackers, they mean business. One of them is offering up to $500,000 for ways to sneak in. Another one, $1 million. And there's a lot of things that are going on behind the scenes. People are offering to create something called an Apple Enterprise Certificate, starting price of $100,000. So what can you do to protect your Mac? Okay, stop thinking you're invincible. Keep it updated. Get some total AV on it. It's worth it. Number 3 in our list. Maybe you've seen this supplement at gas stations right next to the ED pills. And it's certainly all over social media. I'm talking about Kratom. Kratom. Well, the reason why I'm bringing that up is that people are taking it and some people are dying. Like Crystal Tavera, mother of 4, she was making breakfast for the whole family and she just passed out in her kitchen. Patrick Kanye, who is a marine mechanic, he just didn't wake up one day. J.D. Butler, young guy, talking to his girlfriend about a future, moving in together, and guess what happened? He just had a seizure. So what's their story? They all took Kratom. Now, some say the plant is a stimulant. For others, it's a sedative. Other folks say it combats depression, anxiety. Other folks are using it to manage pain or curb opioid withdrawal symptoms. And it's so popular that it just has led to a surge of online sellers. Now, the FDA doesn't regulate it because they say it's a supplement. So if you've heard about it from a friend or family, think twice. I don't mean to be a party pooper here. The risks are real. Ask your physician about it if you're thinking about taking it. And if you need more information about it, we have a whole article posted on our website over at komando.com that I just put up there because I care about you guys and gals. Number 4 is filling up a gas tank or charging an EV battery cheaper. Spoiler, it's cheaper to charge an EV. And just because it's cheaper, are you paying for it in other ways? Well, the Washington Post did some comparison. And when it comes to everyday driving, the average American drives about 14,000 miles a year, saves about $700 by charging an electric SUV versus gas. And it increases up to $1,000 for a pickup. But it can take a really long time to charge it. And of course, you have to make sure that you can find those charging stations along the way. Now, if you are thinking of making the switch to an EV, it's a lot more than just filling up the tank. If you want to charge at home, you're going to have a charger and it has to be up to code. The EV is going to cost more than gas cars. So guess what? Your insurance is going to increase too along the way. And on average, EV owners pay about 25% more. And then also keep in mind that EV manufacturers are now saying, do not charge your EV inside the garage in case it catches on fire. And finally, this coming in at number 5, get ready to listen. This might be the next massive hit. It's going viral as I speak. And it's brought to us by the YouTube channel, There I Ruined It. Here, take a listen.
Oh, while I take plots and I cannot lie, you are the brothers I can't deny. That when a girl walks in with an itty bitty waist and a round penny in your face, you get sprung.
All right, that's Elvis. But he's not singing Don't Be Cruel. He's singing Baby Got Back, okay? Because of artificial intelligence magic, Elvis is back in the building. All right, Dustin Ballard, the guy behind it, uses the He Says AI. And the tool delves deep into this huge compilation of Elvis's voice samples. And with it, he overlays Elvis's voice onto his own tracks. And then he also has done this with Johnny Cash, a rendition of Baby Girl crooned to the backdrop of Folsom Prison Blues. Hey, I spared you from that one. Wow, this is just the beginning, because imagine the lineup. These legendary artists just are like serenading us once again. Now, but did you know that Elvis was a big fan of chicken strips? Did you know this? He wrote a song about them called Love Me Tender. Oh, yeah, I know, that was a good one. When I read about this website, I thought to myself, okay, if this radio thing ever dies, I would totally 1,000% do this. I mean, what if I told you that you could have a free place to stay in luxurious homes all around the world, and the only thing that you have to do is be a house sitter. You have to look after the dogs, look after the cats, the pet turtle, whatever it may be. Sounds like a dream, doesn't it? Well, that's exactly what Angela Law does. And she does this through a website called TrustedHouseSitters.com. And she found a way to be around animals and get a free place to stay all around the globe. And she's been doing it for more than 10 years. And she's so good at it that she's now in charge of the community at TrustedHouseSitters.com. And Angela's here to tell us her story. First of all, Angela, how did you...
Hi, Kim.
First of all, thank you. Angela, how did you become a house sitter?
Well, I'm actually a pet lover and I'm a pet person, and I lost my own dog, and I'd had her for 16 years and she'd lived all over the world with me. I mean, she had more air miles than some people. And when she passed away, it was, my heart was broken. But we decided not to have another pet of our own, but knowing that just what animals give you and how much, what a difference they make in your life, I needed to find a way to have them in my life, but also to share experiences and look after them and help pet parents travel when they never thought they could. And that's how I got into pet sitting. And it's changed my life completely.
Well, I can totally relate to that because I have a almost 5-year-old, 95-pound golden retriever, Abby.
Oh.
And when I traveled, there's one place in Phoenix called the Applewood Pet Resort. And let me tell you, Angela, it's a pet resort. Okay. It's like you and I, we would stay there. Okay. She gets her own condo, but Applewood was booked. And so there was a new doggy daycare place that fired up and down the street. And when I came to pick up Abby, and I thought it'd be great because she could hang out with 10 dogs during the day and then they would put her to sleep. When I picked her up, the dog was shell shocked. I mean, just like she was not the same dog. And it took her like 5 days in order it was like she didn't trust me anymore. And so now whenever we leave, I actually get a house sitter because I'm like, okay, we're not going through this whole trauma again because, you know, she's a wonderful dog and she's like a member of the family. And so I totally relate where you're coming from. But tell us, where are some of the best places where you've been? Tell us about your travels.
Okay. And that's really, really hard because so many of them, but you remember the people, you remember the pets, you remember all of the experiences that you've had. And I've been really lucky. I've been traveling since I was 21 years old. So there's not too many places in the world I haven't been. And I've gone 6-star hotels, et cetera, et cetera. This is just a different experience. It's a lifestyle choice. And New York, 6 weeks in Manhattan in an apartment where, can you imagine how much that would have cost to have 6 weeks in in this apartment? And I had 2 dogs and a cat and 6 weeks there. And the pet parents became friends and we enjoyed that so much. And this apartment, actually, it's quite a funny story because it used to belong to the Kennedy family.
Oh, wow.
I don't know who, where, or anything else. And the only reason I relate that is because one day I was leaving the apartment and I was getting into a cab and the young doorman was helping me in the cab. And as I got in, I slid in and he said, "Have a nice day, Mrs. Kennedy." And that was my 5 minutes of fame. That's the only reason I relate that. But we had 6 weeks there and just an amazing experience in New York. And those pet parents, actually, they sold their apartment and they moved to the West Coast. So they're bi-coastal and they now live in California. We sit for them in California as well because they've got new pets and it's this connection you make. France, we had a sit in Epernay, which I don't know if anybody's familiar with, but it's the center of the champagne industry. And we were staying in this wonderful coach house, and it was actually belonged to grape growers, and this grape industry had been in their family for 3 generations, and they were suppliers to the champagne industry. And when we arrived there was two refrigerators in the kitchen, and one of them, they opened the door and said, "And this is yours," and it was full of champagne, and there was a crate by the side of it that had more in it, and actually. It was some of the best champagne we've tasted and the connection that we made with those. And then I've been to SITS in Barbados, 3 times in Barbados, but one very special one was 8 months in Spain. And while I was in Spain,
wow.
Because this is the thing, SITS vary from a weekend to 2 weeks to 3 weeks. And this one, as I say, was 8 months. And the thing about it is you slow travel, you get really you connect with the community, you discover these places. In fact, where we were in Spain for that long, we felt so at home there that we almost nearly bought a house there and thought, yeah, this is a great place to live. But the connections and this was 9-10 years ago, and we're still connected with those people. It's all about community, and it's a pet loving community.
It sounds like a dream job, but it is a job, right? I mean, you have things to do.
Yeah. The one thing it's not is a vacation. It's more than that. We always say, or I always say, that if you're looking for a vacation, book a cruise, because this isn't it. It comes with responsibilities. It comes with, imagine you you're in your own home. What do? I mean, you still have chores to do. You still have things that you need to do. But first and foremost, you've got pets to care for, and they are the priority. And as you were saying about your golden retriever, there are some pets that actually do okay in kennels, and there's great boarding out there. But the majority of pets, and vets will tell you this, the place that they love to be the most is at home. That's where everything's familiar. And when you've got a sitter looking after them, nothing in their life changes. Their routine, everything. And if you've got a pet, for example, we care for a lot of rescue animals, a lot of rescue pets. And they can't go back into a boarding environment, and to leave them at home where they feel safe and somebody comes in and their focus is them. And we give them more care than their actual pet parents, not because you don't love them as much. That's what we're there for. That's what we're there for 100%.
Well, it's really amazing. I mean, truly, your story is amazing. Do you pay for airfare to get to these places?
Yep. We pay all our own travel. If you think about when you travel, one of the greatest expenses of any travel is accommodation. Well, if you're getting your accommodation, and it is a fair exchange, it's not free. The word free is obviously something that's used, but it's actually an exchange. It is a win-win-win. The pet parents get pet sitters. The sitters get somewhere to stay. But the biggest winners are the pets, of course, because they get to stay at home. So it's almost like sharing. It's like, the sharing economy, I think, is probably the wrong expression, but actually that's what it is. It's a like for like, an exchange, and we each benefit. Everybody benefits.
Now, how does a homeowner make sure that they don't get some crazy wacko person?
Because all of our sitters are actually ID and verified, are background checked. In the US, they're fully background checked. They're ID verified. I think the most important thing to remember is that pet parents, owners never, ever lose control about who they invite into their home. We don't send anybody. You actually make the choices yourself. And you make the choices based on all the information that is available, like the profiles, previous references, reviews from previous owners, and you do all of your due diligence. And then you have video calls, you have communication. It's all about communication. And when you go through the process that we have in place, and that process is followed, at the end of it, you make an educated decision based on the information that you've got. And the other thing that we always rely on, and we know that to be true, is we rely on our instinct. If it feels right, it usually is. And you know what? We've got thousands of sits going on around the world every single day. Yes, things do happen. Can't deny that they don't. However, it all down to communication. And then when things don't quite go right, it's how they're managed. And they're managed by our 24-hour membership services team, so who are available to all of our members.
Wow, it's really an amazing story and an amazing business that that has popped up, not overnight, obviously. You know, this is we just opened up a website and here we are. What do you say to somebody who's listening or they're watching right now and they're saying, you know what, I want to do this?
Okay. There is a term that if it sounds too good to be true, it probably is.
Right.
In this case, it is true. It is true. And I think anybody who wants to try this, first of all, you have to love animals. You have to be a pet person. You have to be, and you have to like people too. And you have to have a sense of responsibility because that's what it is. No money changes hands. This is a service that is free at the point of use. The only money that changes hands is an annual membership that each member pays to join. And why Trusted House Sitters came into existence because the founder wanted to build a community of pet lovers who loved animals so much that they would actually care for them for free. And so if you are that person who wants to wants to travel, whether you want to travel 50 miles down the road or you want to do this internationally. So many of our sits are actually done domestically. And we have sitters from every walk of life and every age group. For retirees, for example, when you retire, what do? You know, where do I go? What do I do? I need purpose in my life. And if you're an animal lover, this can bring that purpose back. Working from home. So many people are still working from home. And what a better way to have a different view out of your office window than to actually go and sit with a cat or a dog and actually have a work-life balance, because instead of being in front of your devices all day, you've got to walk the dog. And when you walk the dog, you actually meet people. And that's what I do. I mean, I was just in Edinburgh for 5 days. I went from my rural existence in my home here, where you have to get in the car to get some milk, to Edinburgh, a fabulous city where we could walk down the road and go to a wine bar. And we had Ella the cat at home who sat on my computer bag while I was working. And so all of that, and digital nomads, you know, those are building themselves a business. This is a way of traveling and working from anywhere. As long as I have a good internet connection, I can work anywhere. And I don't have to go and try and find a Starbucks empty table to actually work.
Well, it's an incredible venture. It's an incredible story. And Angela, thank you for letting us all know more about it. And, if you ever want to come to Santa Barbara, you just let me know.
One of my favorite cities. I love it.
Thank you, Angela. What a delightful woman. Now, listen, if you want to learn more about it, you want to check it out. Once again, the website is trustedhousesitters.com. That's trustedhousesitters.com. Now, of course, trustedhousesitters.com is not the only place where you can do this. Housecarers.com is another one. There's also luxuryhousesitting.com, mindmyhouse.com. There's also rover.com. Now, here's the deal. You can be a house sitter and actually make money over at rover.com. Talking really not about house sitting as much as like pet sitting. They charge a 15% commission to all its sitters on all jobs. And so that means as a sitter, you get 85% of the earnings because you know how to do that math. The average salary, Rover.com says, of a pet sitter is between $30,000 and $40,000 a year. Wow, that's pretty darn good. That's not too rough to handle. Oh, yeah, that was a great one. All right, our phone number and our email address aren't just contact details anymore. They really do open the doors for our apps, our bank accounts, and think about everything else. But here's the thing. What if the wrong person gets a hold of your phone number and your email address? Either or. I mean, your entire world would just totally be in jeopardy. But there's a silver lining, which we love, unicorns and flowers. Google has finally stepped up. They've rolled out this brand new feature called Results About You. It keeps an eye out for any mention of your phone number, your home address, or email on the web. Now, if it does find something, they alert you immediately, and then they give you this handy-dandy dashboard so you can look at what popped up, and then from there, you can just ask to have it removed by checking a few boxes. So if you want to try it, here's the address. Go to myactivity.google.com/results. Once again, that's myactivity.google.com/results. And then you get this full rundown of what the internet has on you. So you might be sitting there wondering, like, why is Google suddenly being nice to all of us? What is going on? Did they have a change of heart? No. What's happening behind the scenes is that Google is scraping all the websites for its artificial intelligence, right? Bard. And so what they're thinking in future tense, this is my guess, is that they're worried about potential lawsuits if AI gets a hold of people's phone numbers and email addresses. And if they said, like, we didn't try to remove beforehand, can we all say class action lawsuit together? So bottom line is they're not being nice. They're just being corporate. And that address, once again, is myactivity.google.com/results. All right, Bob in Kansas City.
Well, so just first off, compliments. I'm a longtime listener from back in the days when I used to listen to you on our local public radio station. And now here you are, daily podcast. And I also have the newsletter subscription, and I do also get my daily bad dad jokes from those. So I appreciate that help. But,
all righty.
So my question is this. I got to thinking recently. Years ago, I signed up for Amazon Prime early on, back in probably before 2010. And, man, I started buying all of my movies through Amazon Prime so that I wouldn't have to mess with physical media anymore. You know, it was perfect. And it has worked out. But now it's been, a dozen years, and I've probably got 300 maybe movies that I own. And I'm starting to wonder about my library and the ability to move it, to the portability of it. I don't think I can. And I guess as long as I'm with Amazon Prime, I'll be able to access it. And maybe even if I'm not still with Prime, I'll still be able to access it. But gosh,
well,
maybe I'm making a mistake.
It's a big consideration because, we have Apple and we buy a lot of movies on Apple. And so it's like, okay, so we always have to have Apple TV, but then we do have movies on Amazon Prime. And then what about Hulu and YouTube? The list goes on and on and on, right? It's just kind of nutso. So if you, let's talk about Amazon first. If you purchase movies, TV shows through Amazon, it does not require an active Prime membership to access those titles. Okay. So whether or not you pay for Prime is that you will always have access to those movies. Now, movies are protected by what's called DRM, okay, Digital Rights Management. And you know what that means? That means that you don't really own them, okay? You just get a license to actually watch that movie. So it's a licensing agreement. And some content providers and some movie companies and even some actors, they want to limit your ability to have access to your digital content, to your movies. So there is a program called Movies Anywhere. I was just looking at this myself the other day, so it's coincidence that you called with this question. And it allows what they say some portability across all these platforms. So if you have purchased movies like we have, this is why I was looking at it, purchased movies on Amazon and on Hulu and on YouTube and on Apple, and you're sitting there saying, do I already own this movie? Okay. Why am I buying it twice? Or why am I going to all these different services to look at my movies? That's where Movies Anywhere, it looks like that allows you to view your purchase content across all these different platforms. But from what I've seen is that not all content is eligible. And this availability can vary by the title of the movie, the studios, and the actors, as I've mentioned before. Now, of course, you can say, well, can I back up all the movies? Yeah, you can, but it's going to be a royal pain, right?
Oh yeah,
200-300 movies.
You wouldn't want to try to build a server farm in the basement to try to store all the movies anyway.
Exactly. We don't want to do that. That's just not a good thing. But just remember, like with your Prime membership, is that you're going to have access to all those movies, even if you don't have Prime, so I wouldn't necessarily worry about that. But if you are looking to kind of bridge that gap and put all your digital content in one place, you might want to check out that moviesanywhere.com. And Bob, thank you for your call today. Just for giggles, let's just try to do the math right now together. I mean, how much space would you need to store 300 movies from Amazon Prime? Okay. Of course, there are a whole bunch of different factors. You have the resolution, the compression, the length of the movie, but let's just say that the average movie is 2 hours. So in standard def, a movie's going to take, I don't know, anywhere between 1 and 2 gigs. Now, for 300 movies, you can do the math, it's between 300 and 600 gigs. Now, what if it's high def? Well, that movie's going to be between 3 and 5 gigs. So for 300 movies, do the math, 900 gigs or 1.5 terabytes. Now, but what if it's 4K ultra high def? Well, a 4K movie, anywhere between 7 and 20 gigs, maybe even more. So for 300 movies, you're going to need maybe as much as 6 terabytes. Oof, I know. That's why we just love keeping every single thing in the cloud, because this way we just have it right there, point and click. We don't have to go searching for it. You don't have to worry about it dying, the drive dying. Ugh, nightmare. I know your streaming bills are probably looking like mine. I'm sitting back saying, you know what? Cable maybe wasn't all that expensive after all. So let's talk about some ways that you can save. Bundles are great. So if you subscribe to Disney Plus for the kids and Hulu, you can pay for each one individually, or you can subscribe to a whole bundle that includes ESPN2 for about $14 a month. That's about 30% cheaper than paying for each service individually. Also, don't keep paying. If there's a show that you're watching, keep the service. Otherwise, just cancel it. If something new pops up, then you hear about it, then you can always subscribe again. Now, you can also share subscriptions with certain family members. I know Netflix stopped that, and Disney Plus is going to be stopping that soon. Also look for student and military discounts. And you also may be getting streaming free of, say, Netflix with your cellular plan like T-Mobile does. And we all love discounts. And don't forget 24/7, you can always find me at my website. That's Komando.com with a K, of course. If you own a home, listen up. This is scary. The FBI is warning about a crime on the rise, home title theft. And it doesn't happen the way you might think. No break-ins, no stolen keys, just a forged signature on a single piece of paper filed with the county. In minutes, criminals can transfer the title out of your name, then use your ownership to drain your equity or even sell your home. The worst part, most people don't know what's happening until they get collection or foreclosure notices in the mail. That's why I trust Home Title Lock. When you visit HometitleLock.com/Kim, you'll get a free title history report and a 14-day free trial of their $1 million triple lock protection, including 24/7 monitoring of your home's title, urgent alerts to changes, and if fraud does happen. Their U.S.-based restoration team will work to restore your title, covering costs up to $1 million. Don't wait. Protect your home and equity today. Get your free 14-day trial at HometitleLock.com/Kim. That's HometitleLock.com/Kim.
Thank you for listening. Here is hour 2.
All right, I always like to kick things off with something super interesting. And I don't know if you notice what's trending online, but something called a smash burger, right? It's all over social media. Thousands and thousands of videos with millions and millions of views. So think about this. A sizzling hot griddle. You take a ball of high quality prime beef, just seasoned to perfection, and then you smash it with a spatula, just forming a thin patty. But there's more. You want the edges crisp to a golden brown. So what people are doing is they're putting in chicken skin inside the burger, maybe some American cheese. Maybe they're using a ball of ground chicken breast. To make the burger extra crispy, they maybe put some butter on the inside of the burger. I saw a video where they put shrimp inside a hamburger with pickles and onion rings. I'm just kind of grossed out about the whole thing, but it could be that, I'm just about a vegetarian, so me eating any of this would be a total mistake. Oh, yeah, that was a great one. Because after all, I'm Kim Komando, America's beloved digital goddess, here with you. And you're about to get more tech smarts because every single thing is now a tech thing. And if you're just tuning in for the first time, a big welcome to you. We're excited that you're here. And to our returning listeners, it's great to have you back with us. You look fabulous. And you can find my award-winning show on over 420 top stations throughout the United States. And we're streaming in your favorite radio app. Just search for Komando with a K. And you can find us as a podcast, as a webcast, commercial-free, over inside the Komando community. Just hit Komando.com, and in the upper right-hand corner, there's a big, bright, happy yellow button that says Komando Community. And a special shout-out goes to all of our listeners on the American Forces Network Radio, serving more than 375,000 American servicemen and women in the Army, the Navy, the Air Force, the Marine Corps, the Coast Guard, and the Space Force in 175 different countries. And I know you have a few questions about something digital I can lend a hand to, and that's why our T-Mobile Unlimited listener line is now open. At 1-888-825-5254 is the way to join us. Now, if you need immediate tech support, somebody to hold your hand and walk you through some things, whether you've had the problem for months or just hours, 24/7, my tech experts are standing by to help you out over at GetKimsHelp.com. Once again, that's GetKimsHelp.com. Alrighty, then every single day I check out at least 35 different websites to make sure we're both up to date about all things digital. And here are 5 things that are happening in the tech verse right now you need to know about. And we're going to start with a very, very, very important alert, really, for anyone who owns a website or if you run a website. OpenAI, of course, is the parent company of ChatGPT. And they made an announcement this past week without much fanfare. You actually had to be on like the insider track to hear it. But ChatGPT, of course, it scours websites for data. And now they want to be able to connect ChatGPT to this data in real time. So what does this mean to you when you start peeling the layers away from the onion? OpenAI is going to crawl every single website that's known to exist. Right, every single website. They're going to go out there because right now its knowledge base only goes to 2021. So it needs to get all the data it can from everyone. Well, you can opt out of this. And let me tell you, I opted out. Here's why. Why should I give away all my hard work all these years so that OpenAI can make money off of my back? Why should I do that? How would that even benefit me at all? So if you own a website, you have to add the GPT bot token to your site code. It's just going to be in your robots.txt file, and you're going to put in disallow : /. We've got it over inside of our newsletters. You can find it on our website as well. Now, Google's going to give you a way to opt out too. Now, when I find out about it, when it plans on crawling every website, I'll be sure to let you know that as well. Number 2 in our list is fake travel guides are all over Amazon.com. Amy Kolsky from Pennsylvania was going to go to Paris, and she said, I need to get a travel guidebook. So she goes onto Amazon, she buys one for $16, and turns out that it's just garbage. It was made by ChatGPT. So many of them. So how do you find them? Okay. Like the author's name on Amy's book was Mike Steves. Kind of what sounds like Rick Steves. Yeah. Okay. Rick's books have a lot of legitimate shining reviews. I mean, that guy's been doing this for so long, and they're pricey, $25. The knockoff AI version, $16. And probably had a lot of fake reviews. You can always use FakeSpot, by the way, to kind of dig those out. So right now, the bottom line of this, if you're dreaming of a getaway and you need a guidebook, stick to the classics, the well-known names, Rick Steves, Lonely Planet, National Geographic. Just stay away from the names that you have no knowledge of. And also, they have no reviews. All right, number 3 on our list, some big Google news out this past week. First of all, Google's going to have a new grammar checker. That's right. You can put it right inside the Google search. It's going to check your grammar, as well as Google Docs is going to have some new AI tools. So that this way you can have a grammar checker right built in. You don't have to tie that into Grammarly anymore. Let's see. If you have a Gmail account, they have a new enhanced safe browsing feature. They've been bugging you like crazy to make sure that you turn it on. And I know a lot of people are reporting on Reddit that, hey, I turned it on, but they're still nagging me to turn it on. Yes, it's some type of glitch that's happening in the system. And by the way, if you do turn on enhanced safe browsing, Google will get all of your browsing history. It's free, but they're going to be collecting more data along the way. All right, number 4, a brand new side hustle coming your way. I thought this was super interesting. People are renting out their SpaceX satellite internet kits, talking about Starlink, on platforms like Facebook Marketplace. Now, the cost of owning Starlink, well, first of all, you got to buy the gear. It's $600, and the service is about $110 a month. So some folks are actually renting out their kits, right? The antenna with the access for anywhere between $25 and $35 a day. Now, if you do that, folks are making about $5,000 a month. You know, American ingenuity, it just never ceases to amaze me. So how does this work? Well, they say the people that have these Starlink kits, maybe they're going on vacation, maybe somebody is going on vacation and they want to take the Starlink internet service with them. And so that's how they're making this money. Wow. $5,000 a month for renting out your internet service. I'm sure there's some paragraph that violates these terms and conditions somewhere. I'm just sure of it. And finally, this coming in at number 5. This is a really novel product. It's called Milo. And I normally like to talk about 3 different products at a time, but this isn't one that I've ever seen like this. It's actually a pool security camera. It sits on the edge of the pool with one camera above the water and one underneath. Now, the company says that it uses AI and it's trained to detect what a drowning looks like underwater. And even when there are no loud noises, it can tell when somebody is actually pre-drowning that they're just struggling. It sends out an alert to your phone, pulses out a sharp alarm to tell anybody in the area that something bad is happening in the pool and somebody needs to be rescued. The cost is $1,300. You know, I think it's great and it's a fabulous use of technology, but I would never, ever, ever trust this security camera over a bona fide pool barrier fence, especially with a lot of kids. Because, you know, what if the Wi-Fi doesn't work? What if the camera just stops working? It's just, you know, you can't rely on technology for everything. The idea of hiring a hitman on the internet, I mean, that's probably something you're like, I bet you that's possible on the dark web. Well, here's the deal. Here's something that's going to make you do a double take. There's a website called rentahitman.com. That's right. It's right out there and it's for real. And you would think that probably the authorities would have taken it down by now. But before you get all freaked out about it, here's the deal. It's actually a spoof site that was created by an IT pro, guy by the name of Bob Innes. Now, you can't actually rent a hitman there, but people have actually tried. But it has led to the capture of dozens of attempting to hire killers. And wow, some of the stories. Some people have tried to kill their coworkers, their partners. One woman actually wanted to kill her 3-year-old child. Yikes. Now, each time Bob receives one of these requests, he doesn't just laugh it off. He hands it over to authorities. And the results, at least 12 convictions so far, even more arrested. So, Bob, I'm so glad that you're here with us. Now, you started Rent a Hitman, 18 years ago? For what purpose?
Yeah, so the domain name was originally registered in February of 2005 for a startup, an IT startup specializing in penetration testing, with hit being the key word. Fortunately, over the years, the website has been transformed into what it is today, which is a corporate look or a parody look at what a corporate murder for hire website would look like, complete with its own service request form, HIPAA privacy disclaimer, known as the Hitman Information Privacy and Protection Act. A service request form in which people can leave detailed information in their own words. There's no menu. There's no pricing. There's nothing like that. And many do.
And so I'm sure you get people who are just kind of playing around with you, but then you get the real requests. What tips you off when you see it? You're like, wow, this is legit. This isn't somebody who's just trying to do a prank.
There's red flags. In the web form that we had online, asked for social media links to the person's account. It asked for a picture if you had one, or map, or anything like that. So by including the intended target's information along with the links, along with, social media accounts, that kind of ramps it up a little bit.
Now, tell me about the Florida mom. This one really disturbed me when I read about it. She was 18 years old, and she wanted to hire somebody to kill her 3-year-old child?
Yes. And she actually had a timeline. She wanted it done by Thursday of that week. This is an ongoing investigation. I can't speak as to some of the information that's not already public, as you know. Okay. But yeah, this is certainly one of the most frightening and awful requests that I've had in all my years working.
Wow, it's awful. Well, tell me a case that you can talk about.
Sure. There was an individual. His name is Devin. He was from Staunton, Virginia. I guess Augusta, Virginia. He indicated that he wanted to have his ex-girlfriend and her mother and stepfather murdered. He also wanted to have his ex-girlfriend's baby, which he had no relation to, kidnapped and trafficked to Texas so that he could start a new family with another female. After this information was received, I started reviewing it. I asked him 2 questions. Do you still require our services, and would you like me to place you in contact with the field operative? He said yes and was eager to move forward. Multiple more emails were sent. The information was forwarded on to investigators. They obviously performed their investigation. They found evidence, and he was ultimately arrested and convicted. I believe he's somewhere in the range of 10 years in Virginia State Penitentiary. The other troubling feature about that particular case was Devin had 2 profiles on 2 different child care for hire websites. So he wanted to watch other people's kids.
Great.
I consider that guy to be a time bomb. He was just waiting for the moment.
Well, thank goodness he dropped you that note, and who knows how many lives that you have potentially saved, and traumas and tragedies. So which branch of law enforcement do you contact initially?
Well, it depends. There's several different criteria. Obviously, if the solicitor is in one state and they want the job done in another state, obviously I'm getting FBI or one of my contacts involved in this. However, if it's deemed a cry for help and it's maybe a young kid who wants retaliation against a bully or a parent or a relative, that's going to take a different route. FBI, ATF, or not my first choice. My main concern is to make sure that the intended target is obviously safe and unharmed. But in these instances involving kids and cries for help, you really have to have it, or you really have to handle it with kid gloves. And not all law enforcement is set up for these mental health type requests that you get. So it's difficult sometimes, but it's getting easier to get these people taken care of and the services that they need.
Does anybody ever come to you and say, oh, Bob, this is awful because all it is entrapment?
Yeah, and I kind of tell them to go and look at the dictionary definition of entrapment. I'm not an agent of the state. I don't get paid by any entity, government or otherwise. We have a terms of service. We have a terms and conditions on the bottom of the page. We have our own privacy disclaimer down there. But the terms and conditions basically will cover everything related to the website. Not many people see it until they really hunt for it. But TOC at the bottom of the website describes everything.
Hey, thanks for being with us, and thanks for sharing your story. All right, let's switch gears and let's talk about the iPhone 15, and has been brought to us by NetSuite. As your business grows, the cracks can start to emerge. NetSuite offers a customized solution in one efficient system. Download NetSuite's popular KPI checklist absolutely free at netsuite.com/Kim. That's netsuite.com/Kim. All right, the iPhone 15 is going to be here September 12th or 13th. That's the announcement. It's going to start shipping on September 22nd. So if you have an iPhone 8 or 10, it's losing support. And if you can't afford a brand new iPhone, just pick up an iPhone 13 or 14. All right, we're going to dive right into the universe of a very busy Reddit community. Am I the a-hole? This is a place where people go on the internet and they talk about stories that have happened to them, or maybe something that they're thinking about doing. Then they say, if I do this, because I did this, am I, yes or no, an a-hole? And then thousands of people just comment and they come up with an conclusion. Maybe that person is, or maybe they're not. And so joining us, we have a very special guest contestant just ready to embrace this challenge and compete for the ultimate grand prize. It's the much coveted Kim Komando Show fanny pack. It's about a $25 or $30 value. You know, it's the best that we can do here on the Kim Komando Show. So, Jeff, thanks for being here. Jeff in San Antonio, Texas. What do you do there?
I do mortgages for a living.
Oh, gosh, this is right up your alley. You ready to play?
Yeah, I sure am.
Okay, so I'm going to read you the story, and then at the end, you can say, yes, this person is an a-hole, or no, this person is not. And here it goes. I recently got high-speed internet to my house after not having it for nearly a decade. My house sits back about a mile off a public road, so utilities need to be hard-lined. So despite living on a large piece of property, my one and only neighbor is about 800 feet away. And when I first moved in, I worked out a deal with our local provider to run the internet line to my house if I could get the neighbor to sign up as well. The reason for that is the ISP wanted an allowance for a customer for construction costs, and they needed 2 people. So there's no contract, and they could cancel after the first month. So I went over to my neighbor and said, hey, listen, I'll pay for the services for the first 3 months, just as a thank you for letting you go in. And they said, we don't need cable. We'll have DSL, and we're really happy with it. And then I explained to them, you don't have to get rid of anything. I just need an extra person so that the line can be run underground. You just have to sign up for a month or 3. And again, I'm going to pay for it. And again, the neighbor said, nope, we just want our DSL. So I worked out a deal with the internet provider, and they did some of the construction. I covered the costs. Next thing I know, an installer is knocking on my door, letting me know that he's going to lay cable across my driveway temporarily, and that they're going to need to dig up my driveway to go across it permanently. And I said, hey, what are you talking about? He says, your neighbor called and they said they want to be part of the cable line too. And I told the installer, you're not taking it from my property. I'm the one who paid to bring it in here. So now my neighbor is begging me to give them an easement across my property for this cable drop, and then I've got to live with a cable while they're putting it in for months. So maybe I'm being petty, but I don't want to give my neighbor access to the cable line, and I don't want to give them an easement. So am I being an a-hole?
I would
what
say
do you think,
no
Jeff?
in that case. Yeah, I'd say no.
Okay, why not?
Gave them a chance. Gave them a chance at the beginning. They were adults. They said no, so they have to live with that.
Okay, but what about like the long-term relationship? I mean, he's never going to have a friendly neighbor ever again.
Well, I guess if they wanted to pay for half of it, I guess they could, work something out. But he's footing the bill for everything now.
Yeah, and you know what? I agree with you. I do. I agree with you 100%. So let's hear what the internet thinks. Are we right in saying that this guy is not an a-hole? Are we right?
Well, I don't know.
Yes, we're right. Jeff, you get the official Kim Komando Show fanny pack that you can proudly display as you walk all around San Antonio, Texas. So,
well, thank you.
So what's on your mind today?
Well, like I said, I'm in the mortgage business, and we've been pulling people's credit for, I have at least personally for about 20 years. In the last few months, it seems that the credit bureaus are getting very aggressive at selling trigger leads. The minute some of our clients get their credit pulled, it might be a matter of minutes before they start getting calls from random companies around the country that had nothing to do with the initial inquiry.
And what are the calls and texts for?
Soliciting them for other mortgage business. So we provide more residential mortgage services, and it depends. We pull credit. Sometimes they'll get a call. They'll start getting calls immediately. Sometimes hundreds of calls the next day. It makes their phone unusable. And so our clients are really looking for a way, and we're looking for a way to protect our clients and try to steer them to the best possible solutions for how to make sure those calls don't happen. And we do use opt-out pre-screen. Mm-hmm. But that is our only real weapon in our toolbox, and I didn't know if there was anything that you would recommend that there's a better way to maybe shield them from all those unwanted calls.
You know what? I'm going to ask my friends at Morgan Stanley your question. Because I recently, on one of our properties, I want to put a mortgage on it for some tax benefits. And I opened up my credit report because I have it frozen and locked, rather. And I opened it up, and I have not heard from any other mortgage company.
Okay.
either by calls or text. So I'm wondering if there's a certain lever that, me not being a mortgage broker, I don't know anything about. But I can certainly ask my friends over at Morgan Stanley and to see if there's maybe something that they can do. And then I'll just wait. If I have your private email address, I'll just go ahead and I'll send you a note to let you know what I find out in that regard. And if any of our listeners, if you're in the mortgage business, if you know something, make sure you can always drop me a note over on the website. While we talk about that, Jeff, let me ask you a question. What do you think about people locking their credit?
I think it's a great idea. I think the amount of times you're going to use your credit versus not use your credit, and the few times that you would actually need to unlock it are actually very small. They've made it very easy now over the internet to do that, to lock and unlock. It used to be very difficult. Now you can lock and unlock in a matter of seconds. So I would always recommend locking your credit.
Yeah, because it's not going to slow down the process. As you said, it just takes, you just fire up the app. Okay, unlocked. Okay, are you done? I'm going to lock it back up. And it's also,
that's exactly right. Yeah.
And it's also a really good idea if you have kids, because this way you can protect their credit. So if you're a parent or you're a guardian, you want to consider locking or freezing the credit reports of any minors. So this way you can prevent identity theft. Jeff, I'll let you know what I find out via email. And so let's just make sure, I know that Amber screening calls today, that I get your private email address so that this way, whenever we find out, I can let you know, because maybe there's just a lever or something that you can press that you're not pressing already, or subscribe to something, so that this way, when you're working with a client to give them a mortgage, suddenly they don't get texts and emails from other companies. That's got to be really annoying. Hey, by the way, if you're wondering how you can freeze your credit, we have all the steps over at Komando.com, and also how to get that free annual credit report, which, by the way, just don't Google that. Somebody is going to scam you. They will, I assure you. Again, just head over to Komando.com, and in the search box, just type in credit report. All right. We already talked about how Starlink is a new side hustle. Now, what about your car? So if your car is just sitting in your garage, just sitting on that driveway, what you can do is consider renting it out to tourists or someone who needs a car for their own side hustle. It's a good way to make money doing really absolutely nothing at all. So rather than going the traditional route of renting a car at the airport, a lot of people are opting for car sharing. Then there's a lot of reasons behind this. Well, first of all, the cars are often cheaper than the car rental companies, and you can also pick out the exact car that you want. So here's how it works. If you list your car for rent on Turo, that's Turo, you keep anywhere from 60 to 90% of the fees collected, depending on the insurance plan that you select. Now, another site that works like Turo is called GetAround. Next up, let's talk about Uber drivers. They always need a fairly recent car, and if you have one that works, Hire Driver, that's HYRE Driver, is for you. Their take is anywhere, between 75 and 85% of the car's rental fee. And speaking of Uber, here's a little trivia question for you. What city in the United States is the one where Uber drivers make the most money? Go ahead, say it out loud right now. Let's see if you're right or wrong. What city in the United States has the highest paid Uber drivers? You ready? It's actually New York City, and their Uber drivers can make as much as $30 an hour. And I also saw another stat along the way when I was looking this up, and I actually put it in a newsletter this past week, is that if you take if you take a cab, that's right, if you take a cab in New York City, the cost can be as much as 85% less than an Uber ride. Wow. That's some big stuff. Hey, by the way, if you need links and these names and these companies, just head over to the website, that's Komando.com, and search for car rental, and this tip will pop right up for you. Let's see. Back to your phone calls we go with Arlene in Lafayette, Louisiana.
For years, I've been amazed by your wealth of information, even before the day you kept us in suspense over why you were out for 2 weeks. You had given birth.
That's right.
So maybe you were setting a new standard about the length of a maternity leave?
That was it. 2 weeks. I remember that I had Ian on a Thursday. I didn't do the show on Friday, and I didn't do the show the next Friday, but I went to work the following Monday. So I was like, okay, I'm good.
Okay, as a bit of background, during COVID, I finally fulfilled a 33-year-long dream that I had, and that was creating rhyming content of 66 books of the Bible, then pairing each one with familiar tunes in public domain. I had intended this primarily for children, but my forward writer thought it would be a lot of fun at adult Bible studies. The project should be released shortly online, but my question is this. I'm not a friend of social media, and I'm looking for creative ways to promote this book. Of course, I'd be willing to listen if you've got a safe idea to use it.
Well, you have to go on social media because that's where everybody is, okay? And you can set up different email addresses, and you're definitely going to want to be on Instagram, because this way you can put some reels together of the songs and the books and the memory games. You're going to want to put it on Pinterest, and you definitely want to put it on Facebook. But in order for us to create some type of mojo for this, is that we need to get some synergy together with social media. And of course, your publishing companies are going to want to have some social media presence as well. So they're going to help you out. But what you're going to do is just start with a Facebook account. And we've got some guides over at Komando.com to teach you how to do it the right way. And Arlene, if you need any help getting this set up, I'm always here for you. And thank you so much for your call. Hey, if you're not already getting our daily podcast, make sure that you search for Komando with a K wherever you get your podcasts. Again, we have the Kim Komando Today podcast Monday through Friday, and we also have our Digital Life Hack podcast. Again, Komando with a K, and get our podcast. All right, Angie in Tacoma, Washington.
You have made my day.
Okay, well, let me tell you something. First of all, that accent is not from Tacoma, Washington. I know that.
No, you're right. I'm a displaced Georgian.
I knew it. I
can't hide it.
So what's on your mind today?
Okay, well, Kim, I bought a CD for Quicken because I wanted to upgrade what I've been using forever. And I found out that in order to access the information I have on my laptop, I have to go online and register. Now, the laptop that I have is solely designated for my Quicken. That's the only thing that's on it. It's never been online. I don't want to go online with it. And now I can't access any of my Quicken information until I go online and register. So I'm hijacked.
Yeah. Well, like a lot of companies, they're going into software as a service. And I know that's no consolation for you, but, the whole world's moving online, and this way they can have it backed up, but also they can start charging monthly fees and incremental fees and make more money down the road instead of just people buying a software disk and then using the same program for 5-10 years. They can make more money in the long run. So if you're looking for a program like Quicken that you can use off the internet, that's not going to ask you to connect to the internet, the first one is GNU Cache. Don't worry about writing these down. We'll send you links. It's an open source accounting software. That means it's absolutely free, and it has a lot of the same features as Quicken. As a matter of fact, it will import your Quicken files too. Now, if you're looking for something that allows you to really get as close to Quicken as you can, there's a program called MoneyDance, and it costs $50. And again, another one that doesn't connect to the internet. And if you're just looking for a personal finance manager, track expenses, budgets, there's Ace MoneyLight. So probably, in order, I'd take a look at GNU Cache and then MoneyDance. I don't think this Ace MoneyLight is probably going to be for you, but you just might want to take a little peek at it. And then, what you can do, what I'd like you to do, Angie, is maybe a couple of months from now or a month from now, just call me back. And I'd like to know which one that you picked, and then what kind of obstacles that you ran into and how you fixed it. But if you need any other help, just know I'm always, always right here for you. I mean, I love to help people. This is my life calling. And again, it's GNU Cache or MoneyDance. And Angie, thanks for your call. Y'all, that was my attempt at being from Georgia, but I'm not. I'm from New Jersey. Always great questions. Always great questions. Okay, when you're out and about and you're traveling, I want to make sure that you're actually getting screenshots. I want you to get all of your flight details, the airline, the phone number, the airline, the flight number, and then the departure, arrival times. And the same goes for your hotel reservations. Make sure that you have the check-in dates, check-out dates, and also all these confirmation numbers. And by the way, if you're going to take the bus, you're going to walk around, you want to screenshot all of your routes or make sure that you have the maps going offline. Hey, thanks for joining us. Thanks for being here. Be sure to tell 3 friends about the Kim Komando Show and podcast because knowledge is power. And you can find me always at Komando.com.
Hour 3.
All right, I always like to start with something interesting. How does this sound for dinner? Poison bread sandwiches. Mosquito roasted potatoes. Not appealing? I know, sounds gross, but here's the deal. A popular AI meal planning app called Savvy Mealbot from a place in New Zealand, the Pack and Save grocery chain, actually suggested these dishes to customers. I know. And also ones that might actually kill you. One customer reported getting a recipe for chlorine gas. The app called it the aromatic water mix and said, enjoy the refreshing fragrance. Ooh, yikes. Yes, AI. Okay, can't always depend on it, folks. Cannot. All right. I found a recipe from Morocco for homemade dinner rolls. It called for fresh thyme, but mine was outdated, and I used it anyway. And as I look back, I really like that old-time Moroccan roll. Oh, that was a good one. I know it was a long way to go for a glass of water. I agree. And on that happy note, you're about ready to get more tech smarts because every single thing is now a tech thing. And if you're a brand new listener, welcome. We're glad to have you with us. And if you're already a listener, welcome back. I am, of course, Kim Komando, America's beloved digital goddess, here with you once again. And you can find my award-winning show on over 420 top stations across the United States, and we're streaming in your favorite radio app. Just search for my last name, Komando. And you can also find us as a commercial-free podcast and webcast over inside the Komando community. And how do you get there? Head to Komando.com with a K, and in the upper right-hand corner, there's a beautiful, bright yellow button that says Komando Community. And a special hello to all of our listeners in the Army, the Navy, the Air Force, the Marine Corps, the Coast Guard, and Space Force in 175 different countries who are joining us on the American Forces Network Radio. All right, every single day I just go through so many different websites. It's got to be over 35 right now to make sure that I'm up to date about everything that's happening in the tech universe. So this way you're also up to date. And here are 5 things that are happening about tech right now that you need to know about, starting with Elon Musk. Yes, the Cybertruck. He finally said it's going to be released by the end of the year, and he's calling it Tesla's best product ever. Okay. It's a bulletproof pickup that looks like it's from Tron. It's kind of cool. Now, before you rush out to buy one, let me just remind you that Tesla, the company as a whole is not reliable. They've had a lot of staff shakeups, production delays, and a lot of people have died because of these Teslas just veering off the road, and also full self-driving doesn't really work. So here's the deal with the Cybertruck. It's already had its fair share of issues, delays, ballooning costs, even working with stainless steel, which hardly nobody does in cars. Another clue about how it worked: it was supposed to come out in 2021. And what's it year? Yeah, it's 2023. So, of course, you can take Elon Musk's word for it and say, this is going to be really great. It's going to love it. You're going to love it. It's going to be a beautiful thing. But I'm going to take a hard pass, and I'm just going to see what happens. I kind of got burned by buying a Tesla Plaid. Terrible car. I know a lot of people love your Teslas. And I every time I talk about how I hate my Tesla, you seem to want to write me a note and say, I love my Tesla. Hey, you know what? Some people like oranges. Other people like apples. Okay. You know what? I just didn't like the Tesla. But speaking of recipes, as we did when I just opened up the show, and Elon Musk, he announced that he has a new recipe for chicken soup. That's right. First, you boil the chicken in water, and then you dump the stock. Yes. Moving on to number 2. This is an innovative app, and I'm really surprised we didn't have it before now. It's a great solution. There's a new app for first responders. It's called Prepared Live, and it's just catching on across the country with good reason. Here's how it works. Once the dispatcher is sure that a 911 caller is safe, they send a link to the caller's smartphone. The caller taps the link, and then they can start live streaming with the 911 operator. And this will help emergency responders jump right into action when they arrive. It's just so smart, and it's working. Back in June, a couple called 911 to report a break-in to dispatchers. The dispatchers sent them a link. They started recording, and bam, the police were able to make an arrest a few days later. Isn't that amazing? If you are a first responder, if you know one, in case you want to check it out, once again, the app is called Prepared Live. Number 3, those travel points that you've been saving for that vacation, you might need to sign in and check them out, because here's what's going on, is that security researchers, they've uncovered some really big weaknesses at points.com. That's a system that a lot of these big travel rewards programs rely on for its software. Well, the bug, the hack, the glitch, whatever you want to call it, it allowed researchers to access 22 million order records containing personal details and maybe even some partial credit card numbers. Another bug, I know they have to call it bug. It wasn't a bug, it's a problem. It's a glitch, it's a hack. Anyway, enabled an attacker to generate account authorization tokens with just a last name and rewards number, and then they just started taking over all the accounts. So here's the bottom line. If you have a United Mileage Plus, Delta Sky Miles, Hilton Honors, Marriott Bonvoy Rewards, these vulnerabilities could have let thieves access your personal details and then just take all your hard-earned points. So what do you need to do? Sign into those accounts, set up two-factor authentication, change your password, and make sure that all your points are there. Once again, United Mileage Plus, Delta Sky Miles, Hilton Honors, and Marriott Bonvoy. Moving on to number 4, AI comes to Walmart. What's going on? They have a new app that's going to help you figure out what should go in your house. It's called View in Your Home. It's augmented reality. It uses artificial intelligence. Here's how it works. You just open the Walmart app. You pick from thousands of products at Walmart, furniture, electronics, lighting, and then you put them all in your room through the device's screen. And so you can go ahead and see if that bright blue ottoman is going to look just fabulous in that family room. Now, this isn't the first of its kind. IKEA and Wayfair, they have apps just like this. But Walmart's doing it, so you may hate going to Walmart, but you have to admit, they really do have pretty darn good prices. All right, coming in at number 5, the world's psychics never saw this coming. I've never been a big believer in the likes of John Edward or Edgar Cayce or any of these so-called psychics. But if you believe, it may be time to reevaluate, because the future of all clairvoyance, with the world that they're supposed to know better than us and what's going to happen, turns out that it's pretty bleak. AI is sending psychics right to the unemployment line. Millions of psychic believers have turned to AI-powered websites and bots. So instead of like driving across town or paying a psychic for a reading, basically they can just use an online bot that has algorithms and machine learning to say, oh, this is what might be worked out ahead. So the most popular is AI tarot card readings, which is why you may need to reevaluate your beliefs in any type of psychic, because if they couldn't see their own demise coming, how can they see what your future will hold? I mean, I went to a psychic once. I'll tell you this. I knocked on her front door and she yelled, "Who is it?" So I left. You should have known. Let's get started with Brent in Anaheim, California.
It's such an honor to talk to you. I've subscribed to your newsletter for, oh my gosh, probably 10 years. And
have you really for 10 years? Do you think?
Have you been doing it for 10 years? Maybe even more.
Oh no, I have. I'm just curious because you've been a longtime subscriber. How are you? What are you thinking about the new format of the newsletters?
I like it. I think I like it better than the other. It's easy to kind of scan through and find what you are particularly interested in. I think the old one, topic that you were interested in, it brought you to, it opened up a new window and it got a little confusing to like where you were.
It did. Yeah.
So
and then plus, We tried to clean all that up because that was a big complaint. I just want to read. I don't want to have to click through and go to a website and read more about it and then see ads. And then there's also in our newsletters, there's only one ad. That's it. Just one ad. Yeah. So it's not loaded with all these different ads. So I was just curious because we're getting a lot of great feedback. I was just looking at
very down to earth. It's very personal. I like the little humor bits. It just kind of makes it like you're talking to a friend. So it's awesome. I like it.
Well, so Brent, how can I help you?
A couple of weeks ago, you posted a review of the Nextdoor website. I had received a email from them. Well, not really an email. It was just like, click here. And it was like, 52 free things in your area. I'm like, okay, weird. So as I'm looking through this, I'm seeing ads for like free animals. And being in the animal rescue volunteer world for many years, it's well known that these free posts pose as good homes for these animals, and they literally sell them for like scientific experiments. It's a horrible thing. And most rescues will scour through like Craigslist. This was like a Craigslist thing many years ago. So I wrote to, the executives of Nextdoor, and they told me that while they do prohibit the sale of animals, they don't prohibit free under the guise of, rehoming them. So I told them my story, what I told you. I said, it's actually the opposite, because if somebody's going to want to sell an animal, they're not going to want to pay for it just to sell it. So my interaction with Nextdoor was before your article on Nextdoor. So I just kind of put the two together. And I said, let me write into Kim and see if there's anything she can do with her platform to perhaps warn people or just say, hey, this is a bad thing. Because I did also make a couple of calls to some animal controls, and they said yes.
Well, let's talk about what we can do. Okay. Brent. It's interesting that you got feedback from Nextdoor, and they did write you back, which I think it says something. I mean, at least they're paying attention, because a lot of these tech companies, they just don't give a crap about anything.
Yeah, and it was actually very swiftly. I think I wrote it Saturday, and they got back to me like Monday.
Which is commendable for them. I'm going to give them a gold star for that. I really will. One of the things that you might want to do is an online petition, because you might be able to gather enough support from people all across the country that could influence Nextdoor's policy if there's enough public pressure. Okay. Of course, change.org can be used to create this petition. And then now what you have to do is spread the word about the petition. So that's where I'd contact, local animal welfare groups, some veterinarians, your local media there in Orange County, and explain to them what's going on, so that this way you can get enough momentum so that you could go to them and say, listen, we had 10,000 people sign this petition that we want you to stop allowing free animals on Nextdoor because this is happening. And then, in your petition, when you start putting this up, make sure that you can give a lot of examples. Okay. And put pictures up and stories, because if you just come in and say, hey, this is what's happening without any concrete evidence, people are going to be like, oh, come on, Brent, really? I mean, what are you smoking?
Yeah. Where's your proof?
Right. So put up the proof, put up your opinion, maybe get some people in the industry who have actually prosecuted some of these cases to give you some good quotes. And there's nothing like photos that will also sway opinions. So again, that's going to be change.org. Once you get that up, Brent, give me a call and let's talk about it. All righty then, let's go back to the phones. Monique in Portland, Maine.
I would like to type a diary, so I need a device that's extremely secure and is hack-free. And the only thing I could come up with in my head was the old word processors.
And so why are you concerned about being hacked and that stuff with your diary?
Well, because I'm a very private person, so I don't want anybody to read it.
And then, so what's the purpose of the diary? Is it self-healing, so you can write your own thoughts down? Is that what it is?
Yes.
When I go through traumatic times, I find if I can get my thoughts and feelings out of my head onto a piece of paper, it actually helps me deal with stuff. So I totally get where you're coming from. And it can be very, very personal that you don't want anybody just to pick up and read because you are sharing your innermost thoughts, right? Crazy.
Exactly.
All right. So, you can use Microsoft Word or Apple Pages, and there are certain things that you can do to make sure that document remains secure. It has built-in encryption, and so that this way it makes it difficult for anybody to access contents of whatever may be written in that diary. You want to be able to store it securely. You can always put a copy of it inside Apple iCloud or Google Drive, and again, all that's encrypted along the way. Obviously, you can put a password on this document as well. And make it a really, really strong password. And always keep your computer secure. So you want to make sure you have security software, antivirus software like Total AV, the firewalls are turned on. And so with this, you have some sense of security that whatever you're writing can have multiple passwords. And on your computer itself, you need to have a password so somebody can even sign into your computer.
Okay.
And so you're going to number one, you're going to make sure that your computer is locked down in and of itself. And then with the document, once you use it has built-in encryption, just do a search and say Word or Apple Pages. Every, program now has its own search and will pull up the steps on how to encrypt a document. And again, make sure that you use really, really strong passwords, something that nobody would ever guess. And Monique, thank you so much for your call. I mentioned this here on the show, and a lot of folks ask me, hey, what was the name of that site again where I could go on and I could rent a swimming pool in my neighborhood for the kids for the rest of the summer? Yes, it's called Swimply, Swimply. They have an app and they also are on the web. All right, let's talk about movie ratings, okay? Because ratings are super important, okay? So when you see a movie and it's rated G, what does that mean? Okay, that means that the prince gets the girl, okay? Now, if the movie's rated PG, the hero gets the girl. If it's rated R, well, that means that the villain gets the girl. And if it's rated X, that just means, well, everyone gets the girl. And on that happy note, I've been looking at the ratings for our newsletters. And here, I'm looking at them right now. We have 3,927 thumbs up. And then we have to add 500 to that. So let's just say it's probably our thumbs up are probably in the, 98% range. And our thumbs down, we have 93 people that gave us thumb down. So that's like 2%. And so here's the deal. Whenever you get our newsletters, we are asking you at the bottom to rate the newsletters. And we do. We look at every single rating that you give us so that this way we keep getting better and better. And our free newsletters, if you're not getting them, you can sign up over at getkim.com. And right now we're sending out over 500,000 of these bad boys every single day. And joining us right now on the Kim Komando Show is my right hand in the newsletters. Ali Seligman, you're our amazing content queen. And you've been taking a look at the comments, right?
Oh, yeah. I read these daily. I really do. So if you ever submit a comment and think like, I bet no one's even going to see this, I read it. Kim reads it. We all read it.
And then if they're super good, we put it into a group chat.
Yes, we do. Yes, we do. And maybe we even say them in special voices when it calls for it, right?
It does.
Yeah.
And you know what? And because Barry was looking at the ratings, and I said, here, look at these two. Okay. And they were just like, how great the newsletter is and how much they love it. And they start their day. And then right after that, there's like, oh, too many ads. I'm like, it has one ad. Okay. I mean, what do you expect us to do? Just do this for free? I mean, really?
Yeah, we got to run the show somehow, people. Well, I do monitor all these, and we get questions through the newsletters, and some of those we answer in the newsletters themselves. And we thought today it'd be fun. Why don't we just do some here? Hopefully you hear your question. And this can be a reminder to you that you can always reply to that email and send us a note. So if there's something you want to know, something you want us to write about, awesome, we will. First, a little shout out from our pal Steve, who said he learned so much in all caps from us, including This is a tip that I put in because I use it all the time. If you're in a document or on a web page that has text, if you double click, it'll highlight the word. And if you triple click, it'll highlight the whole paragraph. And
Love that.
Steve was very glad to learn that. I was too, Steve. A quick one about email from Deb. Now, this one, I have heard other people struggle with this before. She's having random entries pop up on her Outlook calendar. And some are for things that are legitimate, like she'll get her Amazon notification on her calendar, okay? But sometimes scam emails will make it to her calendar. So she got an actual calendar invite about how she was the winner of a sweepstakes and she needed to respond by this day. She's right. You can turn it off. She couldn't find the setting, but we got you. And we will put this and all the other steps I talk about in our newsletters. But those get auto added. If you go into the options, you can turn off something called automatically process meeting requests. So basically, Outlook is saying, what's a meeting? What should I throw on her calendar? And it's picking up the spam, which is not good. But
no,
again,
nightmare.
Deb will put that in the newsletters for you. A funny one from Dave. You mentioned Taco Tuesday, and I recently heard that Taco Bell arm twisted a rival into giving up the trademark for Taco Tuesday. What's the truth? Has my beloved Taco Bell become a taco bully?
We just answer everything. Okay?
I was just going to say,
yeah,
we're the source for everything. And you know what, Dave? I looked it up for you. I did. Yes, Taco John's held the trademark since 1989. And then Taco Bell filed a petition with the patent office to say, you know what? Nobody should own this. This should be free for us all to use. And so Taco John's gave it up. They said, doesn't feel right, but we don't want to pay all the money to defend this.
Oh, okay.
Taco Tuesday.
All right.
This is one we've gotten several times, actually. My laptop or my PC can't update to Windows 11. I'm on Windows 10. When do I need to update? Am I is the clock ticking? Good news is you have a little bit of time. Windows 10 is going to reach end of support October 14th, 2025. So you got some time with your computer. Yes. Don't rush out and buy one. In fact, if you're happy with your machine now, just wait, because we know the technology is going to change enough by 2025 that, a machine you buy now will be outdated. Our pal Lynn wanted to see steps to customize an Android phone. She's not sure what's out there, but she wants to personalize her phone, wallpapers, launchers, and all that. I am not going to go into all the details here, but I just wanted to say, good for you, Lynn, making your phone cooler. Yeah. I do that too. Yes. I have an Android and I use Nova Launcher Prime. That's the big one. It's been around since 2012. We will put all the links for you in the newsletter. Oh, this is a good one, Kim. You'll like this. Tina said that she loves the content, but she wants to be able to click on a headline and read it on the website so she can share with her friends on social media. Tina, we already thought of that. So
thank you, Tina. Two
things. If you notice in the newsletter, there are little social media icons. If you click one, you can share it right to your social that way. You can also email it. You can grab the link and you can send it to somebody however you want. Also, all of our top stories do end up on the website. If there's something that you want to see that is not there, send us a note. We'll help you out.
Exactly. We're always here for you.
We really are. Okay, couple more quick ones. Email is a huge topic because I guess everybody has email troubles. Somebody wanted to know, are email addresses forever, or is it possible to deactivate? I want to get down to one email address. You can, right? You can ask to deactivate or, get rid of an email address. Depending on the provider, it takes a while. So Yahoo, it's 90 days. Outlook, 60 days. AOL keeps it for 180 days. And
they do.
Yeah. Presumably this is I changed my mind, or I didn't realize that all my passwords or my codes for this account goes to that email address. So if you are going to do this, think very carefully about what goes there and if you need it. I would say for a good long while, just forward that mail to the email address that you actually want to check. And we have all the steps for that over on the site.
A lot easier.
Yeah.
Just a ton easier.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. And finally, Kathy says, my Gmail account gets about 70 spam emails a day. Actually spam. Gmail has no answer. They just say to report them. I have another email account that gets no spam. Any idea what's happening? If I had to guess, you gave your email address to someone or somewhere or put it somewhere that it ended up on a spam list, which is a bummer.
Or maybe her Gmail address, she's had it for so long that she was like one of the beginning people, and she has like hot Tina@gmail.com or something like that.
Yes, for sure. And that is such a good point, Kim, that people will actually, spammers will just type in, yeah, this should be a real email address, right? Or they'll just generate like, yeah, this is probably a real address. And so sometimes you'll get random mail that's like, where did this come from? And that's really just from them trying to guess if you're a real person or not with a real email address.
Well, there must be a lot of people in Indonesia, and also some Pakistani state or some Stan state, that have my Gmail address, because every day I get something like, you signed up for like the Indian version of Tinder or something. I'm like, I don't want hot girls. Okay, stop.
Oh man, I wish
awful.
It was that Barry was pranking you, but I don't think so.
No, it doesn't. Not at all. Not at all.
Yeah, Kathy, you might be out of luck on that email address. You might need to start fresh. And if you do, and you use Gmail, do that little alias trick where at the end of your email address, you put a plus sign, and then whatever you're signing up for, put a word there to remind yourself what it is. And then if somebody ever does sell your email address or, give it away to a list, you'll know who the culprit was.
Well, I have some of my favorites. I like this one. I'm not going to give out the guy's email address, but he says he gave us a thumbs up and he said, "My wife says of your jokes, you are going to die a very lonely woman."
Oh, no.
Okay. All right. Okay. That was not nice to say. Okay. And then there was this one. I sent you this one this morning. Gave us a thumbs down. It says, quoting anything done by the Washington Post ruins your reputation enough to permanently delete your app because of your exceptionally poor judgment. I'm not going to give out the guy's full email address, but his name is Hunter. Okay. So
interesting.
Washington Post, Hunter.
Okay.
Do you have any interesting ones?
I did have one more little thank you because people are absolutely loving these quick little tricks that we're putting in our tech hacks email. And somebody, they didn't leave their name, but we had a tip that was basically like how to pause, rewind, and fast forward a video with just your keyboard. So K to pause, J to rewind, L to fast forward. And the person said, I have always wondered why YouTube doesn't have those functions, and now I know the secret, and that alone was worth reading this entire email.
Well, and see, I love getting feedback like that because we are making a difference. And I love all the people that say they're starting their day with our newsletter.
I know, so nice, right?
Routine. There was one woman who said that she was glad that she gets it so early because she gets up at like 3 or 4 o'clock in the morning to take her dog out. And that's when she reads the newsletter. I'm like, I wanted to write her back, say, you know what? You need to make that dog sleep till like 7, okay, or 6.
And maybe she's in Phoenix and it's too hot.
That could be it. All right, so here's the deal, is that if you're not already getting the newsletters, make sure that you sign up. Head over to getkim.com. Once again, that's getkim.com. That's getkim.com. Sign up for the free newsletters. And I've been getting feedback that my jokes are sometimes in broken English. So I'm going to give you one in Spanish right now. You ready? Uno. Oh, that was bad. All right, Allie, you're doing great on the newsletters. Appreciate all your hard work. And yes, make sure that you do sign up for the newsletters because let me tell you, Allie and I, we work together on these things all day long, I swear. So Allie's parents love them. My family loves them, and we know that you will too. So again, sign up at getkim.com. And Allie, once again, thanks for being here.
Thanks, Kim.
Bruce in Chicago, welcome to the show.
I was just calling to ask you about, I got suspended permanently from Twitter for supposedly using violent rules against violent speech. And I was just wondering if you knew anything about that.
Well, what happened?
Well, there was a video, and I commented on it. It was a truck. I think it was in England, and a truck was trying to get through a road, and these people were sitting on the ground. And then I just commented that run their A over, and they called that violent speech.
And so now you're permanently banned from Twitter.
Yeah, I'm permanently banned. I'm at read only, and only so many tweets per day, like 20 tweets or something.
And then, so did you appeal this?
I appealed it, and they sent me back a note and said that that wasn't good enough, and you're still suspended. Okay. And I don't know how to get back on with them.
Yeah, unfortunately, they're probably not going to switch their opinion or sway their opinion or anything by what you say, because once it's done, I think you get that big black check mark on next to your name, and that's just going to be it. Some things that you could do is, you could consider creating a new account, but when you create the new account to circumvent a suspension, that violates all of Twitter's rules. So it's kind of a last resort, and just know that it could have some risk involved with that. You might want to try some other platforms. There's Blue Sky. I don't know if you've heard about Blue Sky, but this is actually put together by Twitter's former CEO and founder, Jack Dorsey. Now, there is a waiting list for that. There's also Threads, and that's from Meta, and that traffic is down like 80% since launch. So I don't know what's going to really happen with Threads if it's a long-term proposition, but that's one of the considerations when you get onto Twitter, is that because you're not paying for the service, they get to make the rules and you have to live by the rules. And, if there's a protest, you want the truck to run over people, that could be considered violence. And they want to, basically get that off the service. Now, I know at the same time you're like, well, what about all the terrorists and rapists and murderers and kiddie porn people that are still on the service? Yeah, I get all that. But again, you sign up for the service for free, they get to make the rules, and what you did went against the rules. So you probably are looking at maybe going to a different service like Blue Sky and Threads, and then just be more careful what you say in the future. Bruce, thank you for your call. All right, I always say free apps aren't really free. You know that. You definitely pay a price. With what? Your privacy. These app developers are harvesting all your data, and they just sell it off willy-nilly. But here's the thing. When it comes to certain apps, you don't even need them because your phone already has all these functionality and these features just built right in. Like, for example, if you think you need a QR scanner app to read a restaurant menu, no way. Your phone's built-in camera can already scan QR codes. You just point the camera at the code, and then you go to a connected website. Now, how about scanning documents? You don't need an app for that, okay? Your iPhone's built-in Notes app, super convenient, it's great. If you're on Google, use Google Drive on your Android device because it can also act as a document scanner. Now, what if it's a sensitive document? Do you really want it in the hands of some strange app? No way. Okay, saving your phone's battery. Oh, that's always a big one in the App Store. Don't download a thing. What you need to do is just be smart about it. Your phone already has built-in tools. What you want to do is make sure that you turn down the screen's brightness, and then take a look. You really want to limit the apps that are running in the background. And be sure to tell 3 friends about the Kim Komando Show, because knowledge is power, and you can find me 24/7 at komando.com.